All right, so if you're managing a fleet these days, you know the game has totally changed. It's not just about trucks and drivers anymore, right? It's about data. So much data. And with all that data comes this just massive overlapping web of regulations that can feel, frankly, impossible to untangle. So what if we could simplify all that? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to give you a super clear 3-layer framework to make sense of it all. Think about it. Every single truck out there is basically a rolling computer, just pumping out data on everything. Location, engine specs, driver hours, you name it. And yeah, this has made things way more efficient, but it's also thrown fleet managers like you right into the middle of a compliance minefield. You've got everyone from the highway patrol to data privacy watchdogs looking over your shoulder. It's a lot. Okay, so to make our way through this, we're going to use the simple but really powerful 3-layer data stack. First up, we'll tackle layer 1, safety and compliance. Then we'll get into layer 2, which is all about the crazy privacy patchwork. And we'll top it off with layer 3, data control and cybersecurity. And don't worry, we'll wrap it all up with an action plan you can actually use. All right, let's dive right into layer 1, safety and compliance. This is the absolute foundation, the bedrock of your whole operation. We're talking about the rules of the road, the stuff that governs your actual trucks and drivers, all mandated by agencies like the FMCSA. And right at the heart of this layer, you've got the ELD, the electronic logging device. Now, the FMCSA made these mandatory for a really important reason, to stop drivers from getting dangerously tired. It's a pretty straightforward job, but it's absolutely critical. It just hooks up to the engine and automatically tracks the driver's hours of service. No more fudging paper logs. It's all about making sure drivers get the rest they need to keep everyone safe out there. But hold on, not every single truck needs an ELD. There's this really key exception for short-haul jobs, and this is a big one for anyone running box trucks. But you gotta be careful here. The rules are super specific. Your driver has to hit all 4 of these points. They have to stay within a 150 air-mile radius, start and end their day at the same place, get it all done in under 14 hours, and you have to be keeping their time records. If you check all those boxes, you just might be exempt.
So here's the thing, and this is really the key point. Even if you are exempt, you might want to use an ELD anyway. HOS 24/7 calls it a safety net, and that's the perfect way to think about it. Why? Well, because that exemption is pretty fragile. Imagine a delivery runs late. Your driver goes just 15 minutes over that 14-hour window. Bam, they're in violation if they don't have a log. And that means big, painful fines. An ELD just handles that switch automatically. It protects your driver, protects your business, and let's be honest, protects your wallet.
Okay, and this is where all that individual driver data starts to roll up into the big picture for your whole company. The FMCSA has this program called CSA, Compliance, Safety, Accountability. Basically, they take all your on-road data, from inspections, crashes, everything, and they use it to score your entire fleet. They break it down into these 7 categories called the basics and rank you against other carriers your size. Now, here's the part that trips people up. A high score is a bad thing. It means you're on their radar for an intervention, and trust me, that's not something you want. It can mean audits, or worst case, getting your trucks pulled off the road. All right, we've got our safety foundation locked down, so let's climb up the stack to layer 2, the privacy patchwork. And this is where things get messy. We're shifting gears from safety data to personal data, and we're going from pretty clear federal rules to this crazy quilt of state, provincial, and even national laws. The question isn't just, is my driver compliant anymore? Now it's, wait, who even owns this data, and what am I legally allowed to do with it? And yeah, this is where it gets super tricky, especially for any of you running cross-border operations. Let's say you've got trucks in California, and you also run up into Canada. You are now playing by 2 totally different rule books when it comes to privacy. And just assuming they're kind of the same? Oh man, that's not just a mistake, it's a potentially very expensive one. So let's just look at the difference here, because it's pretty stark. Up in Canada, you've got PIPEDA. It's really broad, it hits almost every private company, and it's all built around getting consent. But then you look at California's CCPA. It's more targeted, it only applies if your business is a certain size, but, and this is a huge but, it gives people these really powerful rights. The right to see their data, the right to get it deleted, and the right to tell you to stop selling it. We're talking about 2 completely different philosophies here, and if you operate in both places, you have to nail compliance for both. Okay, that brings us to the very top of our stack. Layer 3, taking control of your data. This is where you get back in the driver's seat. We're moving beyond just reacting to regulations and into proactively managing your whole data world. And that's not just about what you do in-house. It's about your software providers, your telematics vendors, your contractors, everybody.
And this quote right here, it nails it. Your data compliance is only as strong as your weakest link. And guess what? That weak link is almost always one of your third-party vendors. You have got to, absolutely have to, go through your contracts with anyone who touches your data. Ask yourself, does this contract say they'll follow CCPA rules? Does it spell out exactly what happens if there's a data breach? Because if that stuff isn't in writing, you are carrying a huge and totally unnecessary risk on your shoulders.
And believe me, that risk is very, very real. The folks at Transport Canada actually have a great, simple framework for this. It's basically a cycle. First, you identify your risks, and that includes your vendors. Second, you protect everything with layered defenses. Don't put all your security eggs in one basket. And third, you have a solid plan to spot trouble and respond fast when, not if, but when something happens.
Okay, we've made it through all 3 layers of the stack, from the asphalt to the cloud. So now let's boil this all down. What's the action plan? What are the key things you need to walk away with today?
First up, for layer 1, it's all about nailing the fundamentals. You need to master your ELD requirements, know them cold, understand exactly how those short-haul exemptions work for you. And please, make monitoring your CSA scores a constant, non-negotiable part of your routine. This is the basic health and safety of your operation we're talking about. Now for layer 2, the big takeaway is all about geography. Think of it like a map. You have to know the specific data privacy laws for every single place you run trucks. Compliance isn't one size fits all. It's a moving target, and the rules literally change the second your truck crosses a state line or the border.
And finally, for layer 3, if you remember one thing, make it this. Your data security is only as strong as your vendor contracts. Your responsibility does not stop at your front door. You have to dig into every single agreement. Hold your partners to the same standard you hold yourself to, because at the end of the day, it's your reputation on the line. So I'll just leave you with this one final question to chew on. You've worked your tail off making sure your fleet is compliant on the road, right? But that's honestly only half the battle now. The real question you need to be asking is your data compliant in the cloud? Because in this day and age, that's where the biggest risks are hiding.